What if I told you that your great-grandmother's methods for food preservation aren't just nostalgic? They might be the secret to boosting your health, your kitchen skills, and your connection to the past. Imagine being able to preserve food for months, maybe even years, without needing any fancy gadgets or preservatives. You don't have to be a professional chef or an expert in food science to master this art. In fact, the key to creating your own long-lasting, nutrient-dense, delicious food might be sitting in your kitchen right now. Let's dive into the fascinating world of Amish food preservation, where ancient techniques meet modern simplicity. You might be wondering, why should I care about preserving food at home? After all, we live in an era of refrigerators, supermarkets, and instant access to anything we want. The reality, though, is that there's a growing need to reconnect with our food sources. Not only does food preservation help us reduce waste, but it also empowers us to control what we eat. Whether you're making pickles, jams, or fermenting vegetables, these methods are more than just about keeping food fresh. They're about improving our health and understanding where our food comes from. You've probably enjoyed some fermented foods in your life, maybe some tangy pickles or a side of sauerkraut. But did you know that those foods are teeming with probiotics that support your gut health? In fact, your body is thanking you every time you take a bite of these age-old preserved foods. Fermentation, pickling, and canning are not only time-tested preservation methods, but they also provide numerous health benefits. The Amish in particular have been perfecting these techniques for generations, and their simple, effective approach might just be the inspiration you need to start preserving food right in your own kitchen. For centuries, the Amish have been perfecting methods to preserve food that are simple yet remarkably effective. With their minimalist lifestyle, they focus on what works and leave out the unnecessary. This is why their approach to food preservation is so appealing in today's world. It's straightforward, efficient, and anyone can do it. You don't need to invest in expensive equipment or become an expert. All you need is a little time, patience, and a few key ingredients. Let's begin with water bath canning, one of the Amish's go-to techniques for preserving food. While it might sound complex, the truth is that water bath canning is surprisingly easy to learn, and it's a method that has helped keep families fed throughout the winter for generations. The basic science behind water bath canning is deceptively simple. When jars are submerged in boiling water, the heat destroys harmful bacteria and microorganisms. The boiling water forces air out of the jars, and as they cool, the lid seals tightly, creating a vacuum that keeps food fresh for months. But here's the kicker. Not all foods are suitable for water bath canning. The Amish know that this method works best for high-acid foods like juicy tomatoes, summer berries, tree fruits, and pickled vegetables. Acidity is key to ensuring the safety of preserved food, which is why acidic foods are the ideal candidates for this preservation method. For vegetables that are naturally low in acid like cucumbers or beans, the Amish will first pickle them in a vinegar solution before canning. This increases the acidity, making the food safe to store for months. Before diving into the canning process, it's essential to understand the equipment you'll need. While some fancy tools are available on the market, the Amish stick with the basics, and so can you. First, you'll need a large water bath canner or a deep stock pot that's tall enough to submerge the jars with an extra inch of water on top. This is one of those moments when Amish practicality shines through. The goal isn't to complicate the process, but to get the job done effectively with what's available. You'll also need a few other essentials: a canning rack, or a folded towel if you're in a pinch, jar lifters, heavy-duty tongs work too, a wide-mouthed funnel, a ladle, and a plastic spatula for removing air bubbles. One of the most important items is the canning jar itself. The Amish insist on using proper canning jars with two-piece lids. No recycled jars here. Proper canning jars are tempered to withstand the heat and pressure of the process, and even the tiniest crack or chip on the jar could prevent a proper seal. With your equipment ready, it's time to get to work. The preparation phase is crucial, so don't rush through it. Start by washing your jars in hot, soapy water, even if they appear clean. This step removes any dust or residue that could interfere with the seal. Then, sterilize the jars by submerging them in boiling water for 10 minutes. Keep them hot until you're ready to fill them. Sudden temperature changes could cause the glass to crack. When it comes to lids, don't reuse them. The flat lid is designed for one-time use, but the screw band can be reused. To prepare the lids, heat them in a pan of hot, but not boiling water. This softens the sealing compound, ensuring a proper seal when you're ready to use them. As the jars are sterilizing, begin heating your water bath canner. You want the water hot, but not yet boiling, when you start adding filled jars. This helps prevent your food from cooling while you wait for the water to heat up. Once everything is ready, it's time to fill the jars. Start by adding your flavoring ingredients. For dill pickles, the Amish recommend adding a crushed garlic clove, half a teaspoon of dill seeds, and a pinch of red pepper flakes. These simple ingredients will infuse your food with flavor over time. For fruit preserves, spices like cinnamon sticks or bay leaves can elevate the flavor. Next, it's time to fill the jars. Use a wide-mouthed funnel and a ladle to add your prepared food to the jars, making sure to pack it in firmly, but not too tightly. For pickles or whole vegetables, you want to leave enough space for the brine to circulate. For jams and crushed tomatoes, leave about 1/4 inch of headspace at the top of the jar. This step is important for proper sealing and processing. One often overlooked but critical step is removing air bubbles. Use a plastic spatula, not metal, which could scratch the jar, to slide between the food and the jar, gently working your way around. This will help any trapped air rise to the surface. Top off the jars with more brine or syrup if necessary to maintain the proper headspace. Before sealing the jars, wipe the rims carefully with a damp cloth to remove any food particles or grease. Any debris on the rim could prevent a proper seal, which is essential for preserving your food safely. Place the lids on the jars and screw on the bands until you feel resistance. Then turn just a 1/4 inch more. Now comes the crucial step of processing. The Amish know that precise timing is key. Place the filled jars in the boiling water bath and start the timer once the water is at a full boil. The processing time varies depending on the food, jar size, and altitude. The Amish often use simple but effective timers, allowing them to multitask and keep an eye on the water level. During processing, keep a kettle of hot water nearby in case you need to top off the pot. After the timer goes off, resist the urge to remove the jars immediately. Instead, let them rest in the hot water for a few minutes. This gradual cooling process ensures better sealing. Once the jars have cooled enough, remove them from the canner and place them on a towel-lined counter to cool completely. As the jars cool, you'll start to hear that satisfying ping sound as the lids seal. This is the moment you've been waiting for. However, not all jars will make this sound, so don't worry if you don't hear it right away. The important thing is that the lids are properly sealed and your food is safe for storage. Let the jars sit for at least 24 hours before checking the seal. Once you've verified that the lid is secure, you can store your jars in a cool, dark place. The Amish recommend storing jars without the bands to make it easier to spot any seals that break during storage. Food preservation is more than just a way to save money or keep food from spoiling. For the Amish, it's a way to connect to their heritage, their ancestors, and the land. It's a practice rooted in simplicity and patience, where time transforms ordinary food into something extraordinary. Whether you're canning tomatoes, pickling cucumbers, or fermenting vegetables, you're not just preserving food, you're connecting to a tradition that has been passed down through generations. And who knows? You might even find yourself enjoying your own homemade preserves more than anything you can buy at the store.